Well, I'm back. Sorry I've been so long. Kind of been down about my nephew and my sister being upset. That's expectable. Biopsy came back malignant. Final stage, like the doctor had told him. So they're looking at some other alternative things to see if there would be any help. If not, and there's no result, it'll just be comfort care. I wish things would turn out different, but it doesn't look like that it will. So I appreciate all of your prayers, all of your support, your wonderful words and suggestions and different types of treatments and drugs and centers that you've suggested. It has all been forwarded to his father and his mother and him. 14,000 U.S. deaths linked to Japanese nuclear fallout. And this would be newsroomamerica.com. Kind of a sort of a blog story. And then it goes in to tell about the 14,000 deaths in the U.S. are linked to radioactive fallout from Fukushima, which is what I've agreed with from the moment that it started spewing out. And this would be 9 months now, and what was the last article that we did see, or pretty close to the last one? I believe they tried to say it was all under control now. Let's see, what did they talk about? Cold shutdown, things like that. And we're being led to believe now that it's a wonderful day. Don't worry, we've got it under control. Well, 9 months is 9 months. That's 3/4 of a year. It's insane that 9 months has passed by and there's been radiation of the sorts of that facility getting out into the air or being put into the water. Now, I said all along this stuff was going to get everywhere. You could look at the models, you could do your own whatever, but just a little bit of common sense would lead you to believe. Invisible, you don't smell it, see it, whatever. You're not going to see it coming. That's why it's hard to believe for people that they're absorbing it and eating it, because they can't touch it and see it and smell it and feel it and pick it up and look at it. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. That's a slow kill that makes things go along a little bit faster. You don't let something go 9 months unless you're doing it on purpose and you got a long-term goal or a short-term goal, but it is a goal, and the goal is death, and the goal is death of people. These are the detected levels of iodine-131 in the U.S. were as follows 6 days after the meltdowns. Tried to say that. Normal is about 2. Picachury is 1 to 131 per liter of water. Boise, Idaho was 390. Kansas City was 200. Salt Lake City was 190. Jacksonville was 150. Olympia, Washington was 125. And Boston, Massachusetts, 92. This was and is the first ever peer-reviewed study published in a medical journal documenting the health hazards of Fukushima. The rise in reported deaths after Fukushima was largest amongst U.S. infants under age 1. 2010-11 increase for infant deaths in the spring was 1.8% compared to a decrease of 8.37% in the preceding 14 weeks. You're going down before it, and then you went 8.37 negative, 1.8 plus. So there you go, you had a large swing right there after Fukushima. Epidemiologist Joseph Mangano, the study of Fukushima health hazards at the first to be published in a scientific journal. It raises concerns and strongly suggests that the health studies continue to understand the true impact of Fukushima in Japan and around the world. Findings are important to the current debate of whether to build new reactors and how long to keep aging ones in operation. Internist and toxicologist Jeanette Sherman said, based on our continuing research, the actual death count here may be as high as 18,000 with flu and pneumonia, which were up to 5-fold in the period in question as the cause of death. Deaths are seen across all ages, but we continue to find that infants are hardest hit because their tissues are rapidly multiplying, they have underdeveloped immune systems, and the doses of radioisotopes are proportionately greater than for adults. The CDC issues weekly reports on the number of deaths for 122 U.S. cities with a population over 100,000, or about 25 to 30% of the U.S. In the 14 weeks after Fukushima fallout arrived in the U.S., March 20th to June 25th, deaths reported to the CDC rose 4.46% from the same period in 2010, compared to just 2.34% in the 14 weeks prior. Estimated excess deaths during this period for the entire U.S. are about 14,000. So, you can take what you want. Like I said, little babies, infants like that, they can't talk and tell you what is going on. What do they feel like? What are they thinking? But remember, you had the article of the lone wolf doctor. I believe he was in the east, somewhere in the east northeast section of the U.S., and he came forward and said, look, more are dying now after Fukushima than before Fukushima. So yeah, I think Fukushima has contributed to this death rate. I remember hearing that a long time ago from that doctor. So I'm telling you, we all got dosed. We're getting dosed. Animals got dosed. Crops got dosed. Water got dosed. Air got dosed. It all got contaminated. Even more than it already was. That's what makes it worse for us. Non-believers, well, don't know what to tell you. Can't give you something you can't see or feel or touch or smell or hold and examine. Can't produce that for you. Tumors usually show up though, where you start feeling like crap, and then you go have some tests done, and then bingo, what, we found something. Well, I hope you don't get any, but that's what it does. There has been I know where I work at, there's been like a rash of sickness all of a sudden. Several guys took off. All of them got sick. I turned up with, I'm not 100%. I turned up with some type of congestion, like head congestion. And the others just got plowed. And another man, all of a sudden, boom, he had a blood clot in his leg. And they slammed him into the hospital. So at least where I work at, there's some strange health things going on right now. Let's take a look at our earthquakes. What have we been doing lately? It hasn't been real bad. There's no 7s and 6s right now. Not like Papua New Guinea, was it not? It had the 7 a while back. And Pakistan had a 4-6 on the 18th here. We're going to roll right around here to the Japan area. Start with them first. You had a 4.5 on the 20th in the Japan region, a 4.9 on the 18th, a 4.8 on the 20th. And these people down here, everybody in the whole world's in a bad way. A lot of people could be much, much better off, but there's a lot of starving, a lot of death, a lot of plague, a lot of hopelessness. 4.9 on the 20th in the Philippines, and pray for the Philippine people. They've been flooded out from the storm. Many dead from the result of it. You have a 5.7 on the 19th in Indonesia. A 5.1 on the 19th, Indonesia. Move right over here. There we go, Papua New Guinea on 4.7 on the 20th. Right over here in the Kermadec region, we have a 4.5 on the 20th, and they also did have a 5.3 on the 19th. We're going to go up here and check out Alaska. And what we find is they had, of course they had the 4 on December the 19th, and they've got strings of 2s and 3s all throughout here. You had a 4 on the 19th in the Canada region. Let's not forget about that. You got 3.6 on the 20th in California. 3 on the 18th, Central California. 2, well, there's a refreshment. 2 on the 19th in Northern California. 3 on the 19th in Utah. 2 on the 18th in Arkansas. Glad you're keeping it down low on your magnitude, Arkansas. As far as we go, it has lessened up quite a bit. Let's go a little farther south down here. 5.0 on the 20th in Mexico, 4.5 on the 19th in Mexico. Four 6 on the 20th in Panama. 4.8 on the 19th, east coast of Peru, central Peru. 4.7 on the 19th in Argentina. I believe we're pretty clear on there now. It's not really shaking and baking real hard. And I believe this was fairly clear. Like way down here south on the 18th, you did get a 4.3 in South Africa. course, you've got to, pull that over for you. No, I didn't do it. Force 6 on the 18th in the Mediterranean Sea there. Well, that's how we're shaking and baking at the moment. Back out here and get a little view, a little overhead view. Now, how about the death of Kim Jong-il? Does anybody think it's going to make any difference with his kid taking over, the 29-year-old? They're making a big skidoo about what's going to happen with North Korea. Well, we know what's going to happen with North Korea. They're not going to change. They're North Korea. It's what they are. You're not going to see Occupy North Korea. You're not going to see people sit in anywhere and stomp their feet and see these guys go democratic or make concessions or any crap like that. They're going to be who they are. We already know that. So it's just going to stay the way it is in North Korea. It's not going to be a great day. You know, and they showed the whole bunch of people crying that he was gone. But I don't think they showed very many clips of, or much as they should have, from the few that they may have, of people cheering that he was gone. How about asking those people starving to death if they're glad he's gone? For whatever reason, we should pray that somehow his son isn't as greedy of a scumbag dirtball like he was, and that he doesn't take all the money and blow it, and then he buys food for the people and works on the things that they need so they don't starve to death. What about Assad in Syria? Is he gone? Nope. Has he made any concessions? Nope. The Arab Council put some pressure on him with their firm words, didn't they? Yep. And the U.S. said some stuff, didn't they? Yep. And they sanctioned or talked about sanctions. We're going to do this, that, or the other. Maybe they did. They froze some banks and all that stuff. And is he gone? Nope. They can do whatever they want. He's not going anywhere. They're going to have to go get him. And when they do that, it's just, like I said before, you're just seeing another one on the list. You know, and he's either going to play ball or they're going to get rid of him. And he ain't playing because he ain't conceded and he hadn't left. So that's got to play out. You're throwing Iran in there now with a supposed drone that may have stealth technology, advanced computer system technology, all kinds of things that they could upgrade their own knowledge with, if it hadn't already been given to them by the Chinese or the Russians. The technology, you know, they may just not have broke it out and let you know that they got it, for all we know. But anyhow, they're conducting exercises on maybe or maybe not how to control or shut down the Strait of Hormuz. You know what Lindsey Williams said? And he's claiming that their elite timetable would be October, November of next year. I believe is what he said, September, October, November, through that area. So, war is supposedly already set for next year, but not this year. And you know what he already said about the gas prices for next year? They already had planned for that by the end of 2012 to just jackhammer through the roof. And he did mention that they would start producing the unproduced oil fields over here that they've been kept in secret for years, and that they were going to break them out next year. Well, now you're reading about how our exports have been more this year and how they are expected to be more next year, and so on with the pipeline. So maybe that's a coinciding thing that Lindsay said with this little droplet of information they're putting out about exports going up now and projected to go up next year and so on. That might fit. We'll have to see. What I can say is some things aren't done yet. Israel is the marker on the ground. How she goes determines everything. It's knowing that there's a lot of stuff left that hadn't happened. And I don't mean a ton of stuff. I just mean, several things that are key that could happen all in a short span of time. They have to go and fulfill, or we're not ready for anything yet. Well, when we talk about 2012 and the Mayans, we cannot leave out the Egyptians. And this will be a short little reminder of ancient Egypt, Orion, the Mayans, the return of their god, the change of things. We'll just briefly go through and read some. Many researchers from around the world have been trying to figure out if the December 2012 doomsday prediction is in sync with predictions made by the Egyptians about a similar event that will take place in 2012. The Egyptians' predictions state that a worldwide catastrophe is bound to take place in 2012. In addition to this, the ancient Egyptians have stated in some of their books such an event has already occurred previously some centuries ago. The Egyptians had predicted such an event to occur in 9792 BC. However, proof of what exactly occurred in that year is not clear. There are two essential books that play a key role in finding out more about the Egyptian doomsday predictions. These books are known as the Book of the Dead and the N.Korean Bible. The Egyptians have been known to be experts in astronomy since centuries. Many Egyptian philosophers and astronomers have been involved in studying the stars and other components of the skies to determine and predict events of the future. In the year 9792 BC, some peculiar occurrence created panic among the astronomers. Okay, at that date, back then, some type of peculiar occurrence created panic among the astronomers. The dudes watching everything up there saw something and it scared the crap out of them. This event was the retrograde movement of Venus through the constellation of Orion. This event is said to happen only 2 times, the first being in 9792 BC and the second predicted to be in 2012 AD. The position of Earth's pole precession is the same on both these dates. The constellation Orion is of great significance to anyone who is involved in Egyptian astronomy. The Orion constellation represents the god Osiris in the sky. Osiris is known as the god of the afterlife and the dead. Owing to Venus moving in retrograde of the Orion constellation in 9792 BC, the Sun rose to a new horizon, which made way for 2 sunsets and 2 sunrises. Such an event can only take place if there's a shift in the poles of the Earth. If this event actually had taken place then, the living beings on Earth would have suffered some consequences because of the shift of the poles on the Earth. Well, I imagine they would have suffered some consequences from a pole shift. The Egyptian predictions for 2012 AD are similar to those that were predicted for 9792 BC. Chapter 17 of the Book of the Dead gives detailed information about the events that took place in 9792 BC. Apart from the change in the Earth's poles, another theory for the event that took place is that the Earth changed its direction of rotation around the Sun, which caused Venus to retrograde through Orion too. Many modern scholars and astronomers have been looking into the old books and trying to predict if the event scheduled to happen again on December 21st or 22, 2012 will actually take place. Some scholars who have done extensive research on the matter have some to conclude the positions of Orion and Aldebaran on December 21st, 2012 match the exact position that they had taken back in 9792 BC. In case the event that happened in 9792 BC will actually happen again in December of 2012, mankind should take measures to ensure that safety is provided as much as possible to the living beings on Earth. Researchers are trying to figure out ways that can help keep the human race going in case such a catastrophe does cease to exist in 2012. And this little tidbit is probably about the same thing. We'll see what we got here. Ancient Egyptians in 2012. One of the greatest civilizations ever known. One of the most mysterious in history, could possibly hold one of the many keys to the 2012 phenomenon. So what do the early Egyptians have to do with the year 2012? There are 2 sources of information, the Book of the Dead and the N.Korean Bible. That's the same thing we just read about. The ancient Egyptians were master astronomers, watching and charting the skies for phenomena that would foretell impending events. It was an important accepted way of life for them. And talks about chapter 17 in the Book of the Dead that caused great concern. The celestial event was the retrograde motion of the planet Venus through the constellation Orion. What is important to note is that they're the only 2 dates when Venus will be in retrograde. We already knew that. That's the same information there. But they're both liking that information of that date and the Venus and Orion deal. Orion had incredible significance for the Egyptians in that Orion represented Osiris in the sky. Okay, we know that. And Venus in retrograde, an event occurred that caused the Sun to rise at a new horizon. During 9792 BC, and with Venus in retrograde, an event occurred that caused the Sun to rise at a new horizon. Disturbingly, the text goes on to say that the Sun moved from his wonted course, twice rising where it now sets, and twice setting where it now rises. And the old lion turned around. Unless the references to the Sun rising where it once set are completely misunderstood, this could only mean that either the Earth changed its rotation or a pole shift occurred. If either of these actually happened, there would have been dire consequences for the human race at the time. which is exactly what the ancient Egyptians described. Well, you see what I was meaning? It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Revelation or ancient Egyptian prophecy or Mayan prophecy or X prophecy, Y prophecy, Z prophecy. The ending takes you to the same place. Bad things happen along the way to the end, and they become more and more and more, and you can't miss it. They become undeniable, and they signify the return of their God. That's what the Mayan prophecy also includes, that part, does it not? Because they're looking forward to that date. Date of change. Of course, they say it's going to change into something good, but, well, we'll see what it changes into, won't we? Because we're going to get something next year. We're going to see some kind of changes. We're almost ready. What do we got? 11 days left, and we'll be starting the new 2012. We'll be looking up. We'll be looking around. We'll be seeing what's going on. We'll be able to read the earth changes. We're not going back to sleep. At least I'm not. So, still proceed with caution. It doesn't mean the world itself is going to blow up and come to an end. You know, when they talk about doomsday, the end of the world, that's completely wrong. You know, that's just the end of the world the way that we know it, which would essentially be a doomsday for us, to have what we know taken away and replaced with something that is foreign and totally 10,000 times more worse than what we want, that we already have. So I think we get some stuff next year. I don't see things getting better, do you? Does the austerity worldwide look like things are getting better? It doesn't look so to me. It looks like the economy's teetering on the brink, and they're just propping it up till they decide to pull the last card out and let the whole thing fall. And that's pretty well what Lindsey Williams described. You know, they want to catch you off guard. They want you to be completely like somebody punched you in the gut and you're out of breath. You know, they want to catch you off guard and floor you. So don't be caught off guard. Always pay attention to what's going on. Use your common sense. There's always a reason for what they do. You can't be naive enough to believe that they're doing it because it's good and they want to help. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like they're helping, does it? Well, I'll let everybody go. It's pretty well said everything. There's a lot more I can say. Yeah, I'm feeling better and back in action. I'll be saying some more. But it's going to be a year like no other next year. And everyone should be ready for anything. You know, New Madrid didn't happen when we thought. It was a flood. Things got real mushy and people lost stuff and crops were lost. Cropland, wasn't it? There was a lot of water, wasn't it? There was an event there, wasn't it? You had superstorms in the south, tornadoes everywhere, Joplin, Missouri destroyed. There were some events that happened there, wasn't it? And then Colorado, Virginia, Oklahoma. Well, we got 5, didn't we? Yeah. So there were some things that happened. We were just a little ahead of what we thought would happen, when we thought it. It ain't going away. As far as the other 2 objects that we looked at that looked really bad, and they could have been bad. If whatever happened with the comet element, well, hey, we don't know, because we never got to finish that out. It stayed together. We don't know. It didn't, so thank God we didn't get in that scenario. YU-55, well, as it got closer and you could see that it wasn't going to change course, then you knew more. Then you knew, okay, it's going to stay a safe distance. Then all you was concerned with was the moon. Is it going to hit it or not? You look at the stuff, the numbers and everything, and the data, and you see more percentage not than so. But the one thing I know is that those 2 things made us look. They got us interested. I don't think they were psyops. I think they were general things that we were supposed to see and make us take interest, so that we woke up. Are you getting it? Sometimes things are there just to wake you up. I'm not saying that God used them. He could have. He controls everything. I'm thinking he probably did. I'm not sure what happened to that comet. It disintegrated from the sun or whatever. But it was no more. No threat. No tail. No problem. And that's the way I like things. No problem. And I'm glad things didn't happen that way. I'm glad we made it through all of that stuff. But this stuff coming down, well, we're getting farther along that timeline. And where we were early on, we're going to end up getting closer to those arrival times. And we're just going to have to see. Pay attention to where we're at. I'm going to try and get some rest now. Try to get over the last little bit of this, whatever it is. Some kind of sinus infection or something like that. I don't take flu shots. I don't like those. I just pretty well got some over-the-counter stuff. Oh, one other little thing before I'm out. That was a good football game. New England versus Denver. I thought Denver was going to take them. They ran that ball good. But those 3 fumbles, that little 6-minute period, well, that's all that Brady needed. He got that little cushion, and that was what broke the camel's back. So there wasn't any Tebowing done this weekend. But he played a good game. Broncos are going to be seen again. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I like the guy. I think he's good for the sport, like I said before. I need to get off his back about his faith, or about being on one knee, or about anything. He's a player. It's okay for other guys to make the sign of the crucifix before every play, but he can't get on one knee and reflect. You know what that is. I don't need to go any more into that. But God bless everyone. Oh, well, one more little thing. Y'all need to go into your video manager. I would bring that up, but I'm closing it out now. Go into your video manager and make sure you go through your favorites and your videos that you liked. I think mainly they're doing it in the favorites. But I went in mine the other day, and what I can see, and I need to go back in there and go through every one that they've done that to and see if I can find them still and be able to put them back in. But they have done something that makes me think they're filtering out things that are important to be shared. You know, like Nick Begich and the videos that I had on him speaking about heart. You know, they're grayed out now. They've taken the video out. And then there was some Nibiru videos. They've taken them out. You know, I looked at all the ones that they took out seemed to be what I considered an important information. So commonly, a lot of people probably just add, to their favorites and then go watch once in a while, or whoever's on their channel goes through and watches, and maybe they don't see their favorites that much after they put things in there. I don't know how they treat their pages, but you should go in there and check and see if they've done that to your favorites. I got I got quite a few favorites in there, 100 or something, over 100, but that's what I saw, and I didn't like it. And they don't do it with your permission, and if you don't go in there and check, then you're not going to know that they've done it. So stop doing that, YouTube. And also, YouTube, when you changed everything, it sucked and nobody liked it. So you need to quit changing things into things that suck, that nobody likes. Leave things alone. And then when people suggest things to do, if they're worthy of it, institute them into what already works. Don't change the whole thing and put some new stuff up that nobody likes. But of course, you probably like doing that. But irregardless, that last bit was especially for you, YouTube. You never did answer my mail. You asked me what I was dissatisfied about. I told you, and you never wrote back. But at least you know what I don't like that you're doing. All the things that I told you. Well, good night, friends. God bless you. I'll speak to you soon. I'm glad that every one of you is my friends. And I appreciate each one of you.